my favorite one, New York at Green Bay. Adam, start us off. Key offensive matchup for the Giants. What do they got to do?
They got to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. If you saw what happened last week in Atlanta, or against Atlanta, Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw combined for 170 yards against the Falcons defense. They're going to have to establish the run once again against Green Bay and keep these long drives so that Eli Manning and this Giants offense can score points, but also the less time Aaron Rodgers sees the field, the better. I mean, heck, they almost beat Green Bay the first matchup they faced each other. But of course, they left that 1 minute on the clock, and Rodgers got down the field in 3 plays. So even that might not be enough, but they really have to pound the rock with the football and really keep that Green Bay defense on the field.
Yeah, I'm kind of going similar. I think B.J. Raji's ability to control the running game, that newfound running game that ran for the 155 yards on the ground, combination of Jacobs and Bradshaw doing a great job against Atlanta. B.J. Raji, I'm sticking with the whole defensive tackle theme. I've kind of been on it the whole podcast. I'm going to go with B.J. Raji and his ability to control that running game of the Giants. Of course, we know that Eli in the passing game is the key to this offense. If you can make him one-dimensional, that can never hurt.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah. Okay, Adam, give me the defense for the Giants.
Well, there's 2 real big keys with them I see, is that as well as that secondary played against Atlanta, they had 2 other big blows, is that Aaron Ross, their corner, suffered a concussion against Atlanta, and Deion Grant, who's a New York Giants safety, injured his groin. Both did not return to that Falcons game. So that's 2 real key injuries to look out for against a very, very good receiving core for Green Bay. But I'd say the biggest thing is the Giants' pass rush against Green Bay's offensive line. Even though they're banged up, Chad Clifton and Brian Bulaga are expected to play for Green Bay. So it'll be their A-team out there trying to protect Aaron Rodgers. But we've seen in the last 3 weeks, 13 sacks by this Giants pass rush. You've got OC and Johnston Tuck back healthy to support the great season Jason Pierre-Paul has had. So it's going to be something that's got to give between that Green Bay offensive line and New York's pass rush. And who wins that battle could ultimately win the game for either side.
Yeah, I'm going with the return of Chad Clifton. He was injured in early October. He played 1 quarter in Week 17 against Detroit just to let him get his legs under him. Marshall Newhouse did a pretty decent job as the left tackle while he was out. However, it's Chad Clifton against, JPP, Tuck, and
Umenyiora.
Yeah, and OC. Those guys who have been such a fierce pass rush. A-team out there. The A-team wasn't out there against Kansas City. The big reason they lost, they were getting all that pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Now you got a better pass rush, of course, than KC has going against them, but they at least have their A-team out there, which is a good thing.
But what's interesting is, let's say, and obviously we saw the Kansas City game was a mess for Green Bay, but let's say that Chad Clifton and his offensive line core aren't able to be very effective. Lots of collapsed pockets, not a lot of time there. Aaron Rodgers has a 131 passer rating versus the blitz, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dude gets the ball out fast.
The Giants don't need the blitz.
They don't need to blitz.
No.
Right, but it's the same thing, right? I mean, as far as that tells me what Aaron Rodgers does under pressure.
Sure.
And that's what he's going to be under. They're going to be rushing 4 most of the time because they don't have to sacrifice their linebackers.
And you saw so many times in that Atlanta game where it looked like a blitz because Matt Ryan just got swallowed.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm going, that's only 4 guys. They're not blitzing anyone. They're the 4-man rush, and it's just folding. The whole Atlanta offensive line with running back help was folding, just folding in half. So, they don't need to blitz.
Right, absolutely. But Aaron Rodgers, much better than Romo, much better than Matt Ryan at getting the ball out quick and making quick reads, checking down when he needs to. Finding guys like Jermichael Finley, that's a good guy to check down to.
How about Greg Jennings coming back this week?
Very good point. We haven't seen him in a long time. Do you think he's going to have a big effect?
Oh yes.
If nothing else, as you were saying about Andre Johnson in the Houston game, these number 1 deep threat receivers do a lot for you even when they're not catching the ball because they take attention away.
Yeah, a lot better if you he threw Matt Flynn had that huge game with just James Jones and Jordy Nelson. Can't hurt to add Greg Jennings to that mix.
And you can't not talk about this. You were talking about the Giants' defense, A-Roz. Lots of pressure being put on Victor Cruz, lots of attention being put on Victor Cruz after a week of media hype about how Victor Cruz was, the second coming of, Jerry Rice. Mm-hmm. And, right? See, now you're going to salsa dance this time.
Yeah.
Right. It's fun. It's fun. It's
I'm an Eagles fan.
I got to get a Victor Cruz jersey.
But, when a guy's infectious, he's infectious.
So that allowed Hakeem Nicks to have a really big game. How do you think the Packers are going to approach the Giants' offense?
I think they're going to
from
move
a receiver standpoint. How do you think they're going to deal with Cruz and Nicks and Manningham, for that matter, who had a big game himself?
Well, of course, the most important guy in their entire defense is number 21, Charles Woodson, and they're going to move him all over the place. He's a guy, he's gotten a little older. He might not be the man-to-man cover guy he used to be back in his younger days. But, boy, he's still one of the best defensive backs in the entire NFL, and they're going to move him around all over the place. So he's probably going to play the hot hand receiver for the Giants. And then, of course, Traymon Williams is an excellent ball-hawking corner. So he'll probably be guarding the second receiver. Now, the biggest matchup is how they guard the slot receiver, which I think is probably going to be Victor Cruz more than anything. I think they played a lot of Hakeem Nicks in the slot as well as the edge last week against Atlanta. But I think Tom Coughlin and Kevin Gilbride, the Giants offensive coordinator, is going to switch the Giants receivers from the edge to the slot and really mix up their offensive looks. So look for Green Bay to do the same thing. It's going to be a real chess match between the two teams. But how Charles Woodson plays in the secondary will dictate a lot of how Green Bay will try to stop this air attack.
Do you choose to line a receiver specifically up with Woodson? Do you say Nicks is your guy? Well, you do that with Revis. It always happens with Revis, right? Are we going to see that with Woodson? I mean, and we saw that last week too. All the attention on Cruz. You put him on Cruz, you put him on Nicks, or you mix it up.
I think you do what you normally do because this whole season you've gave up a ton of passing yards. That's fine with Green Bay. They're good in the red zone, and they had 31 interceptions. Heck, throw the ball in between the 20s as much as you want. Mm-hmm. But once you get in those 20s, we're going to lock up. We're going to take chances. We're going to go for interceptions. The reason we're going to take chances and allow a lot of big passing plays, because we know we can score and make up for it. So they're going to do what they always do. I don't see them doing anything different. If their normal plan is to line Woodson up on Nicks one play, Cruz another play, they're going to keep doing that. Why fix something if it's not broken? It may look broken when you just look at the numbers of how many yards they allowed, how many points they allowed. It looks broken. 31 interceptions, great red zone defense, and a 15-1 record. Keep doing what you're doing.
Well, that being said, when these two teams played a couple of weeks ago, this was a very evenly matched game, and Eli threw all over them.
Yep.
Right?
A lot of guys threw all over. Matt Stafford threw for 520 yards. Some reserves in there for Green Bay.
Yeah, like Clay Matthews wasn't playing, for example.
But, a lot of guys threw for a ton of yards against these guys, and they still won games.
And it's also, we have to note that Aaron Ross is he's expected to play now. Mm-hmm. He went down with what we thought was a concussion, but I think he's going to pass his concussion test. He'll be in there.
That was on the same play that the ball was batted in the air and Jason Pierre-Paul was going after it, and then at the end of that play, it was just Giants strewn all over the field, which worries him.
Yeah. DJ Ware, to that effect, will not be playing. He is concussed. He's not going to play. But Aaron Ross will be in there, and we'll see Amukamara in there some, but not as much as we thought we might with Ross being out. So the base secondary of Ross and Corey Webster should be in effect against these, but there's just so many more than two weapons on this Packers team. Yeah. They can just spread it around. All right, let's do picks, A-Roz. You start us off. Giants-Packers, who do you like? In Lambeau, where it's going to be 18 degrees.
Yeek.
Oof.
Yeah.
The frozen tundra.
Man, this is the one game where I really wanted to pick the upset. This is the only one I even felt comfortable picking the upset, because look at the history of the Green Bay Packers. They've only lost 2 home playoff games at Lambeau Field, once to Michael Vick's Atlanta Falcons, And the second one was the 2000 NFC Championship against Eli Manning and these Giants. And just the way they played in the Meadowlands, that tight three-point game, reminds me a lot of what they did to New England in 2007, playing them Week 17 really close, propelling them to the big upset in the Super Bowl. But I just can't seem to pick them over Green Bay. I'm once again sticking with my head and gut. I'm picking Green Bay by 3 points. I just think Aaron Rodgers will be too much and prevail in the end. And I think the 18-degree weather might halt the passing game a little bit more for both sides. I think Green Bay's just got a little bit more in the tank than New York.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised if the Giants won this game. Wouldn't be surprised if this Giants team goes to the Super Bowl. Wouldn't be surprised if this Giants team wins the Super Bowl. I'm going to say they're going to lose by 17 in this game, Green Bay. I'm going Green Bay.
Oh, you're saying that the Giants are going to lose
Green
by 17.
Bay is going to beat the Giants by 17 points.
Why can't we make a pick like that? I think the Eli Manning's just going to shellac them, and the Giants are going to win by 2 touchdowns. Why not? No. Okay, I'm going to take the Packers because that's what my gut says, but mostly because of the bye. We saw these teams play a game which was basically 50-50 a few weeks ago. That was when the pass rush started to play better. The pass rush is even more effective now with Osi Umenyiora back. They are a force to be reckoned with. That being said, I think that the offensive line being a little bit more rested is going to be able to do just enough. I mean, Rodgers is going to get sacked a few times. He's just going to get sacked a few times. But if there's just a couple of guys that are going to be able to deal with this pass rush better than anyone else, Aaron Rodgers is one of them. Tom Brady's another. Maybe Breeze is third on that list of being able to get the ball out quick. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be able to get the ball out quick, deal with the pass rush. And there's just not enough secondary. That's what it comes down to me. There's not enough defensive backs to go around for Big Blue to stop guys like Jermichael Finley, Greg Jennings. There's just too many.
Were there any picks any of you guys were comfortable with? I wouldn't be surprised if every single one I picked was wrong.